FBI saying it's warned police departments across the Golden State now of strikes by unmanned aerial vehicles or drones as tensions rise in the Middle East.
Why are all the news channels telling us that we're about to have a strike inside of California?
Well, airports are basically telling people good luck.
Bet that says the discovery or disclosure of alien visitation to Earth will happen by December 31st of 2030.
So it sounded like it would come from the front door, walks through the living room, dining room, into the kitchen.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we have got a very interesting set of clips. We have a few things that everyone needs a heads up on, especially if you live in California. A few updates on the ongoing collapse of society. We have some very worrying footage if you're someone who frequently uses Airbnb. And we've got a paranormal clip that I believe may actually show a ghost. On top of that, we're trying out a new look today. I know a lot of people had issues with my camera angle whenever I got moved out into my office, so I'm trying to rectify that and do a more direct camera approach. Don't forget to drop me a comment and let me know what you think about the changes. That being said, let's get after it.
If you live anywhere in California, then you need to know that the FBI warned police departments that Iran could be planning an attack. And allegedly, that attack that they're planning on doing it in California first. Look at this.
The FBI warning of possible Iranian drone attacks on our homeland. A new alert reviewed by ABC News revealing Iran's aspirations to conduct a surprise attack specifically against unspecified targets in California. The FBI saying it's warned police departments across the Golden State now of strikes by unmanned aerial vehicles or drones as tensions rise in the Middle East.
So they're basically saying a ship armed with drones is going to get close enough to California and let those drones loose. And we talking about California, let's talk about New York. I ain't never heard this many helicopters flying around New York. What's really going on? What we have to know is that we're not getting the truth about everything. 1 minute, somebody's on television saying that the war can end in 11 days. Then the next minute, they're saying that Iran is planning on allegedly hitting California with a drone attack. Now I need you to listen to what they said. They said it's supposed to be a surprise attack. Okay, so if it's a surprise, how did you know about it? And I'm not saying that to say that we shouldn't be aware. I'm saying that to say we are continuously being lied to. We are out the loop on everything. They told us only 6 American soldiers died so far. Only a couple got injured. To come to find out, that's a lie. I say that to say this. If anything happens on American soil, Americans are not going to know what to do. Because the people that are supposed to be leading America is misleading America. We know that sleeper cells are here. We know that something can happen. We know from previous incidents, but y'all need to pay attention because it don't sound good at all. I'm out.
The most frustrating part of all of this is they manufactured this scenario that we find ourselves in. They flooded the country with a bunch of people that don't need to be here. They've used those individuals to commit tons of fraud, stealing our tax dollars. And now they've gotten us involved in another war with the home countries of some of these people that are over here. And they can't even give us a legitimate sounding reason as to why we're going to war with these people. Everything they tell us sounds like a lie. So it would only make sense that all of those people that migrated from those countries into the United States are going to be very upset with what the U.S. is doing. Most U.S. citizens are very upset with what the U.S. is doing.
There is something massive getting ready to take place right this minute. Why are all the news channels telling us that we're about to have a strike inside of California? That they're going to send drones into California? We know this. What appears to be a nuke was just dropped in Iran today. I'm not even screwing with y'all about Iran, but in Iran today. Now we have the president saying that, oh, guess what, guys? We have won the war. Remember where I showed you guys where George Bush came out and said mission accomplished, before this two-decade war in the Middle East? They say, oh, it's all destroyed. 89% of everything is destroyed. Tell me why ships are going down right now by the hands of Iran. Tell me why Israel has been being bombarded with missiles from Hezbollah for hours in a row. Hundreds of missiles, hours in a row. I had already showed you guys where it seems like something's going to happen in America. They're all talking about there's going to be some kind of attack on the U.S. Now the news already knows what kind of attack to look out for. It's going to be an attack into California. How would they even be able to do that? Ask yourself that. Iran on the other side says this war is not over. Israel says that we can go as long as needed. Tell me how this is over when things have nothing but escalated to this point. Also, I told you guys there were more than just 7 or 8 people that had gotten hurt. Now they're saying 130. But of course, everyone said that I was wrong. Trust the government's numbers, right? I still don't think it's the accurate number in the first place. I mean, do you guys even know how many people are literally active in this war just in the Middle East alone? Yeah, he says it's over, but I say, just watch. Next week, 2 weeks, whatever, something is going to happen. So the president is basically insinuating that we have to wait for the terror attack on California before we can actually do something about it. And did you know, completely unrelated, that the 33rd parallel runs right through California? And completely unrelated again, did you know the Trinity test site for the first nuclear weapon was 33rd.3 parallel? You know, New Mexico? Sorry, 33.6. And did you know that Roswell, the whole alien thing, by the way, you know, we have this coming supposed invasion, was also 33.3rd parallel. You know what I'm talking about. You know, Werner von Braun, Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons, all up in the desert, wearing half their clothes, opening portals for demons to come through, remember? And then the president says that we think we know where most of them are. And of course, they all came to the border the last 4 years.
President Trump, what have you heard about this bulletin that some law enforcement put out about a possible Iran revenge plot in California, where there would be some kind of a boat offshore launching drones towards the...
It's being investigated, but you have a lot of things happening, and all we can do is take them as they come. And the war itself is being prosecuted.
But hold on, if you know where they are and you say you do, why not take care of the problem now instead of waiting for it to happen?
Have you been briefed about how many Iran sleeper cells there could be inside the U.S. right now?
I have been, and a lot of people came in through Biden with his stupid open border. But we know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
Is it dozen?
You remember what those file drops said about Biden? Yeah, that was weird. You remember what Natalie said about her dad? That was weird too. So the honest question is, how'd they really get in the border? Make sure you get this out there, because I think it's a given at this point that something is going to happen for sure. By the way, the president told them to go ahead and go through Strait of Hormuz, it'll be fine. And then all of a sudden, look behind me, yeah.
Unfortunately, the reason that I think they're likely not taking care of the problem while they're out in the ocean, if it's supposedly some tanker or something with a bunch of drones on it heading our way, you would think they would just go ahead and obliterate it. But I think what they're wanting to happen is for one of these attacks to hit U.S. soil. So many citizens are against what's taking place right now. The only way that they think they could get everyone on board with it is if everyone wanted revenge for some heinous act. So if they were to allow some of these sleeper cells to actually pull off what they're planning, a lot of people are going to be instantly on board with going to war. And what's going to happen is a vast portion of the population is just going to look at Iran as the bad guys. They'll take nothing else into consideration, completely forgetting that we're only here because of the decisions made by our government.
Now entire airports are saying, you guys figure it out. Because people who are going to the airport for their flights are walking into a complete nightmare. Lines are so bad, it's not just inside of the airport you're having to wait in line, you're having to wait all the way out in the parking garage. So many people that honestly, when I saw this parking garage at this airport, I was thinking, okay, who's the celebrity that all these people are waiting to spot in the parking garage? But this is the actual waiting lines. You're talking running late for your flight nightmares. That's what this is made of. You're like, man, the ground floor is so congested. Nope, it's every single floor in the airport. Why are lines this bad? Because you can't get through airport security right now because TSA agents are not showing up for work. Why? Because they aren't getting paid. So all of airport security people are just not coming in for work right now because they aren't getting a paycheck. This isn't just today. We're talking ever since Monday. Started with 2-hour wait lines. Now airports are basically telling people good luck.
We had missed both our flights. We were waiting in TSA just to get to security for 4 hours.
Seriously, what are these airports doing to make this better? They are telling passengers that you need to be at the airport 3 hours early to even stand a chance of catching your flight.
I tell you what, as big of a reason as this is to just stay off a plane in general right now, all of the talk about a potential attack by these sleeper cells that have been brought into the United States, That should be an even bigger reason to stay off of a plane right now. Even if you're convinced that none of that stuff is going to come to fruition and none of these sleeper cells are actually here, or none of these sleeper cells are going to try to attempt to pull anything off, never put it past our government to try to pull off a false flag. They need the U.S. citizens on board with this war. And we've seen time and time again, these people do not have a conscience. They will attempt anything that pops into their head so long as they think it's going to get them their desired result. But I certainly wouldn't be traveling outside of the country right now. And if you need to travel somewhere within the country that's several states away, it might be a good idea to rent a car.
Dude, of course this is the news that we are hearing about in 2026 right now because it can't get any crazier. A Harvard scientist just officially bet that aliens are going to make contact with Earth by 2030, and he's building observatories to prove it. So this guy that's a former chair of Harvard's astronomy department for nearly a decade now just placed a $1,000 bet on record. A bet that says the discovery or disclosure of alien visitation to Earth will happen by December 31st of 2030. That is only 4 years away. Now here's where the timing on this is actually insane, because Trump just ordered the release of classified government files on UFOs and alien life. Obama just recently said about aliens, they're real, but I haven't seen them.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them. And
NASA just confirmed that an interstellar comet 3I Atlas is carrying water ice from another star system that's chemically identical to ours. This is the same exact scientist that argued that the first interstellar object ever detected back in 2017 was likely a piece of alien technology, not a rock. He published a paper about this entire thing on a major astrophysics journal, and then half of the scientific community thinks that he's out of his mind. The other half, though, can't prove him wrong. So the question really is, do you think we are alone? And what is about to happen in 2030?
I'm starting to think that Professor Avi Loeb got a taste of stardom whenever this 3I Atlas story was making its rounds, and he really liked it. Now that no one's talking about that anymore, and the guy wasn't technically proven wrong, but he certainly wasn't proven right, I think he's just trying to keep his name in the conversation about aliens because that's where his star power is. I would put money on it that the only reason he made the claims that he made initially about 3I Atlas was because it got him some attention. Just think, how many times have you heard the name Avi Loeb before 3I Atlas? It certainly wasn't a name that I heard come up very often. And honestly, I know $1,000 is a lot of money, but for something like this, if you really believed what you were saying was true, why wouldn't you put up more? I think this guy just figured out that for making a $1,000 bet, he can put his name out there and get hundreds of thousands of dollars in free press. I think that's all that's going on here.
The amount of movement that I have been hearing down here all night, like I was laying in bed and I was just listening to walking down here for probably 2 hours straight last night, and every time I would come down, nothing. The dog came down here with me because she heard it. Like the first couple times things would happen, she wouldn't hear them, but the last couple of nights she's actually been up and heard them as well. So, and when I would hear it, because our bedroom is directly above the living room, so it sounded like it would come from the front door, walk through the living room, dining room, into the kitchen, and then I wouldn't hear it anymore. But the amount of walking is very unsettling. Is very unsettling. What was that? What the f? Yo. That is stuck in there. Holy.
I've watched this and rewatched this and rewatched this, and I can't find anywhere that there could be a person hiding behind camera. And I can't help but to assume if this guy was throwing the knife himself, you would have seen the camera shake whenever he threw it. And it doesn't look like it comes from his side of the room. It looks like it drops from the ceiling. And I know that we've all seen clips like this before where some knife falls out of the air and sticks in the floor, but maybe all of those clips are real. There does seem to be a lot of clips of people having knives thrown at them. And if you are experiencing paranormal activity and whatever it is that's haunting you wants to get its point across, there would be no better object to throw at you than a kitchen knife.
There it is. Stick your finger through it. There's a peephole.
On June 2023, Tiara and her friend of hers were staying at an Airbnb somewhere in Portland. And at first, they weren't very happy about the fact that they couldn't use the front door. But once they were inside, they found this house to be very beautiful. But sometimes appearances can be deceiving, and what Tiara and her friend found out left them in complete shock. Check this out. Room with a peephole on it and several other rooms with locks on the outside. Tiara and her friend began to feel unsafe, as if there was someone possibly watching them. So after making this video, they contacted Airbnb and left the house immediately.
This may not sound like that scary of a situation until you really think about what this house implies is going on. Part of me feels like that would probably be a house that would be great to film a horror movie in, but then another part of me thinks with as much weird stuff as there is built into that house, none of the audience would believe that it was a realistic movie. It is too much. This is a serial killer's playhouse. I'm just glad to hear that they made the right decision and got out of there. Allow me to show you a clip of what could have happened.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah.
You're the people that I let the house to, right?
Yeah.
You're here on holiday?
Yeah. Who are you?
I own the house. I'm Richard. If it's not inconvenient right now, I'd like to use the bathroom.
Excuse me. We've rented this house from you.
You know, you might have noticed after midnight. There might be a bit of creaking on the stairs because it's me using the toilet. I was just sitting in there and I think they're out.
You want to shout? Well, but I'm not out.
This is my little dungeon.
If somebody who, and I'll be honest, that guy genuinely seems like he's harmless, but if somebody like that thinks it's okay to stay in a house that they've rented out to strangers and to just hide, and again, it doesn't seem like this elderly gentleman had any ill intentions. It just seemed like he was trying to turn his home into profit without having to leave it. But if a guy like that can get away with hiding in an Airbnb that you've rented, just imagine if it's someone who has genuine bad intentions. I'm genuinely shocked that we don't hear about this happening more often. Unfortunately, that may be due to the fact that a lot of people who find themselves in this situation probably don't make it out. It's like no one ever stops to think that anyone, regardless of your history, including your criminal history, can just list a house on Airbnb and they could rent it out to you.
A mother had recently shared a clip that freaked her out after noticing what was in it. One day, while looking at her security cameras, Adrian Dakota notices something inside her living room, but more specifically, around her child's playpen. She wasn't sure as to what she was seeing, so she zooms in and replays the video to check. It goes without saying, but what she saw continues to keep her up at night. Now, it's important to note that before this incident, Adrian had already been documenting strange things around her house, and for some reason, these occurrences had something to do with their children's toys. Now, it might be easy to write this off as being just a glitch or a toy that's starting to malfunction, but what's strange is that this was happening day after day, one toy turning on after another. And that's without mentioning that during this time, Adrian's daughter had an imaginary friend who she said was very tall. Now keep this imaginary friend in mind because this detail becomes important much later in the video she recently posted. The reason why she was so freaked out by the toys turning on was because prior to this, her daughter kept mentioning this imaginary friend. And apparently, this so-called friend would show up in places where her daughter said it was, usually inside the house near the toys. Adrian was so frightened by this, but more so by this video, because according to her, while taking care of her second child in another room, something terrifying appears in her living room. This is what she caught. to Adrian, it appears that someone or something peeks out from behind her baby's playpen. Thankfully, her child wasn't in there during this moment, but strangely, even though no baby was occupying it, the figure itself looks like one. Whether it's just pareidolia or not, it's obvious that something is there. Considering that a bowl just fell off the shelf with no apparent cause, Adrian can't help but wonder if whatever this was had been responsible for the other occurrences before. It is strange how each occurrence involves one of her children's things. Whether it's their toys or their small play enclosure, something unexplainable happens around them. This, of course, brings up the question, could this have been the supposed imaginary friend her daughter had previously mentioned? Or might this be something else entirely? Currently, and unfortunately, there is yet to be a definitive answer to this question.
I promise I was not trying to mislead anyone by intentionally overhyping this clip at the beginning of today's video. I found this clip and only watched it once on my phone. And typically what I do is I'll look for things on my phone and then I download them to my computer, bring them into my editing software, and start building the video from there. So when I saw this clip on my phone, I genuinely thought, wow, they've caught something unique here. But seeing this play out on a 55-inch screen, this looks unmistakable to me that this is a cat. And I couldn't find anything stating whether this woman does or does not own a cat, but I'm thinking that's what this is, and half of its face is black and half of its face is white. I mean, it looks unmistakable to me. I almost feel like I should remove it. But a lot of people are thinking that this is an actual ghost caught on video. And again, it got me. When you watch this on your phone and you can't look at it that closely, it definitely looks like something that we've never seen before caught on video. But after seeing it blown up on a big screen like this, I don't think it is what everyone thinks it is. I think it's a cat raising its head up over the side of the playpen and just looking around because, like the other animals in the video, it was startled whenever a noise was made. If anything, this woman that posted this video would have known if that was her cat. And I hate to just accuse someone of this, but if I had to put money on it, I would say this woman knew that was her cat in that video, but she also knew that it was blurry enough that most people watching on their phone would not be able to pick up on that. What do you all think? But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow with another one. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to drop me a comment about what you think about today's videos, as well as what you think about today's setup. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.